Good morning. Oh, that's great. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, Delaware. We've recently returned to services here in the sanctuary while continuing to stream the service to those attending remotely at home. We're grateful to be able to gradually be emerging from the constraints of COVID. However, there are still some. For those of us who are here today in the room, let us continue to observe a few basic safety measures. As you've already learned, masks are back. Vaccines are required for all eligible people. No social distance rules do apply, however, as long as you're masked. There will be a period of socializing in the parish hall after the service where we can gather to chat, but alas, no coffee yet. Second floor access is available for all, including library and meeting rooms. My name is James Moser. It is my privilege to welcome you today in my role as worship associate, and to welcome our own Reverend Richard Speck, one of our very own, who will bring a message of our simple faith. I look forward to Richard grounding us in the foundation of our faith. And we welcome today also Fish Castle, our friends Cyril Everett Castor and Catherine Brake Sellen, who write and perform their own music. It is so fine to have you folks with us again. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington is an inclusive, welcoming community. You are welcome here. Whether your faith journey is currently in a barren wilderness or in a peace garden, you are welcome here. Whether you are single, paired, or alone again, you are welcome here. No matter whom you love, you are welcome here. Whether you were born here or came here, whether you're struggling or prospering, whether your skin is dark or light or in between, you are welcome here. Whether you came from a broken family or a happy one, you are welcome here. Whether you contend with a disability or if you are temporarily able-bodied, you are welcome here. Whether you are younger or older or in-betweener, you are welcome here, and if none of those categories meet you, you are welcome here. If you are new to First U, either here in person or visiting online, we invite you to learn more about us at our website, firstuuwilm.org. And you may sign up there for our newsletter. Again, welcome to this morning's service. Now let us prepare our minds and hearts to enter that space-time of consciousness and awareness that we call sacred. Leaving the trivial at the doorstep and opening ourselves to the deep needs and hopes at our center. Let us prepare to worship.
Truth truth and beauty. Now my wandering days are over, and my life is winding down. There's a quiet place within me that I have finally found. In a cabin in a clearing where the huckleberries grow. Now the spring peepers are calling, in my heart I've come to know that it's been there all along. Every nature, every song, and that long dusty track has brought us home. Truth and beauty, peace and grace. Truth and
Our call to worship today is Our Religion by the Reverend Louis A. McGee, who was one of our first African-American ministers to serve in our Unitarian Universalist Association back in the 40s and 50s. Our religion is a religion of social concern, a religion of intellectual and ethical integrity, a religion that emphasizes the dynamic conception of history and the scientific worldview, a religion that stresses the dignity and worth of the person as a supreme value and goodwill as the creative force in human relations. This religion can and ought to become a beacon from which this kind of faith shines.
As is our tradition in the lighting of the chalice, if you have a chalice at home, I invite you to join us by lighting it during these words. The light we ignite is not created by us. It is received by us. The light has come to us from the hands of our predecessors, from the lives of faith pilgrims before us, who have braved and saved the stories that illuminate our journey. This particular light now shines in our midst for a time. May we behold it and receive it and internalize the light.
We have a new hymn for you today that I want to teach you this morning. It was written by David Tomulovich, a Unitarian Universalist songwriter. Cyril and Catherine and I will sing the chorus first to help you learn the tune. Then we'll repeat that chorus and then sing the rest of the song. So I invite you to rise in body or spirit. Ours is a simple faith. Life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place. a short embrace. Heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we till. Make each day what you will. Thankful for dreams fulfilled every day. There is no hell to fear, no judgment day drawing near. Trust that inner voice you hear every day. Life's not a goal or race, it's about heart and faith and living a life of grace every day. Ours is a simple faith. Life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we build. Make each day what you will. Thankful for dreams fulfilled every day. Trust is an open hand, making an honest stand, rooted here in the land every day, living from misery, seeking the harmony here between you and me every day. Ours is a simple faith. Life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we till. Make each day what you will. Thankful for dreams fulfilled every day.
So, why are we here? Please join me in affirming our mission. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington is a beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits, fights injustice, and transforms the world through loving action.
Let us enter into a moment of prayer and meditation. Prayer for this Church by Nancy Schaefer. May each one among us have skin that longs to touch other skin, fingertips that long for other fingertips, or whole hands, or even arms. Bodies that want to stand next to other bodies, not alone, while singing and bending, stirring soup. May one whose skin doesn't cry out for other skin wish it did, and so teach it, so that no one stands alone and no one aches and does not say so. May our doors be so open it is drafty inside. And people sometimes shout because noises without come also within. May those sheltered here sometimes cry all at once, letting tear water clean what words by themselves cannot. In silent times, may everyone present hear everyone else breathing and know this is not separate from how the world breathes all night. May we always have enough room for those many who want to come in. May those who cherish this church be so glad they cannot stop speaking, stop asking, and may that crowding itself be a gladness as we keep adding rooms. May we notice each one who is new and invite her to stay. May our list of names for the holy not ever be finished. And may we hear God chuckling with us as we find still more. Let us enter into the silence. Each week, we gather to take time to hold in our prayerful hearts all those who we hold a special care or concern for on this day. You may say their names aloud or write them in the chat now. May all whose names were spoken or written, or those unspoken, find peace and healing this day.
I have been to the stars, and the stories they know, by the way that you breathe, you will suddenly grow and see a way has found you. have come from the night with the wind in your eyes and your whispering voice is the girl when she cries when you return. I will be there. In the end you will know. In the end you will be in the flow of it all. You will come to the sea, but never die, but never chains of fear, chains of confusion, free my hands from your ways. Let one will be my master and make me strong and make me strong. Oh God, summer star, should we
Excuse me. I have 3 readings this morning, short, but they each have something to say to us today. We go to church by the Reverend Ralph Halverson. We go to church in expectancy, to find the missing part, to relate to what we can never explain, to live with unanswerable questions. We go to church because we are looking for something of life's fulfillment, a fleeting sense that we wish to make life whole, to find the point of our existence. We go to church because we are looking for human fellowship, a community where we think of helping one another rather than exploiting one another. We go to church seeking composure to face a world of confusion many problems, some of which may be solved, and the predicaments that may have resolutions, but not solutions, and must be faced over and over in life, calling for courage and decision. We go to church to find the strength to go the second mile, to offer forgiveness, to make amends, to find the good with the evil, the healing beyond hurt, to rise again after we have fallen. We go to church suspicious of its obvious weaknesses, but still feeling the pull of the many centuries of humans who have found faith and renewed their lives, who have moved beyond the hobbling traditions and renewed their minds with a vision of what life may yet be. This Church, by Reverend W. Edward Harris. This church is not a place of right convictions, a fortress of truth, or even a bastion of philosophy. The church is a community of those who have suffered loss, lived through it, and learned true compassion. We have a sense of awe and mystery about this world and this enterprise of living. Our church is where we hear music and sing it ourselves, where we serve one another and the world, and where the strands of our beliefs, our lives, and hopes are in a cable strong enough to bear us across the valleys of pain, despair, grief, doubt, and disillusionment. Each has experienced these, or will. We learn from each, and for these reasons, we come to this special place, infusing it with hope. And then the final third reading is Words Matter by Reverend Carol Thomas Sissel. Diverse, multicultural, inclusive, welcoming. If I made a list of every single Unitarian Universalist congregation I have served, visited, or worshiped at, they would have a few things in common, including the use of these words. Perhaps on the front of the order of service, or scrolling across the home page of their website. Maybe they've been emblazoned on a rainbow-colored banner hanging in the sanctuary. Wherever they are, more often than not, the words are proudly combined with another expression that has been embraced in everyday UU vernacular. All are welcome here. The congregations, churches, and fellowships on my list all have one or more of these words proudly on display. I know why they are used so freely. Initially, I felt embarrassed by them. I felt embraced by them. Embarrassment on me. I felt embraced by them. There's a warmth of recognition when my eyes first capture their sight. A sense of being acknowledged and valued moves from heart to head, and then a smile settles on my lips. My heart blooms. I feel like the welcome table has been set for me, and I am eager to pull up a chair. All of this takes place in an unmeasurable instant. In the next moment, it is tempered. I remember past experiences and unconsciously recalculate and measure my response. The petals of my heart close a bit, protecting the delicate stigma and stamen that lie within. Fear of disappointment rises within me like the sun. I love those words. I want what they promise, but I have been repeatedly disappointed. It is simply not enough to print them on an order of service or in a newsletter. They must have meaning and intention at their core. A desire for multicultural worship is wonderful, but it will not flower if that seed of yearning is not nurtured by a commitment and a plan. Longing for diversity of race, gender, or age is only a beginning. It calls for caring and creative programming. Our congregations are primarily white, female, and over 60. And if you look around the room, if we are to serve into the future, that must change. I believe that we can transform first ourselves and then our world. I am injured repeatedly when we do not, when we use words just for the sake of using them. I am hurt. Have you ever been asked about Unitarian Universalism? Were you at a loss of words to describe what we are? I used to teach people that they had to come up with the elevator sermon and have it ready. You only have the time. An elevator travels from the first floor to the third floor, or the third floor to the first floor, to tell about your faith. Do you think that you could do it? As a Unitarian Universalist minister, I have had numerous opportunities to clarify what it means to be a UU. Usually the other person has some vague notion of what we stand for, but it is not clear to them where we fit into the religious landscape. You who are here and online might not be too sure of what you could tell somebody if they asked you about Unitarian Universalism. If so, this sermon's for you. Reverend Erica Hewitt said in a sermon 10 years ago that she appreciated what we stood for. She said, "What brings me joy as a longtime Unitarian Universalist is not that we get press in our saffron gold standing on the side of love t-shirts. It's nice to appear in the news, but our visibility isn't what pleases me the most. It's that the UUA's Standing on the Side of Love campaign has provided us with a voice, a place, and an identity. We're talking about who we are and what we stand for. We badly needed this," she said, "as a people of faith. For a long time, we needed practice articulating our religious identity and what we stand for. It's always been an uphill battle because myths and half-truths about us abound, fueled in part by UU jokes. So let me start with these misconceptions around us that circulate through the internet. If you do a brief search, you will turn up something like this. Have you heard the latest UU miracle? Someone saw the face of Ralph Waldo Emerson on a tortilla. Why can't Unitarian Universalists sing very well in choirs? Because they're always reading ahead to see if they agree with the next verse. What do you get when you cross a Unitarian Universalist with a Jehovah's Witness? Somebody who comes knocking at your door for no apparent reason. A Unitarian Universalist died and, to her surprise, discovered that there was indeed an afterlife. The angel in charge of these things told her, because you were an unbeliever and a doubter and a skeptic, you will be sent to hell for all eternity, which in your case consists of a place where no one will disagree with you ever again. The copy machine broke down at the Unitarian Universalist Church. Since it was Sunday, no repair person was available, and they desperately needed more copies of the order of service. After fluttering around the machine in distress, a member more mechanically inclined than the rest found the problem. It's just out of paper. The flashing box said right there, replace paper in tray 2. Sheesh, can't anyone here follow directions? Another member retorted, if we were the kind of people who followed directions, we wouldn't be Unitarian Universalists. Now, these jokes and many others poke fun at ourselves, and each has a kernel of truth in it. But we also need to realize that if we are to remain a viable option for people, we must do a better job of telling others what we really have as our core. So what is the essence of Unitarian Universalism? How do we live our life to express our faith in the larger world? And why are we a small group of liberal-thinking people? Now, the joke about Emerson, the face of Emerson, is rooted in his theology. On July 15th of 1838, Ralph Waldo Emerson gave his divinity school address to the 7 graduating students, faculty members, and local ministers at Harvard. This sermon caused a storm of protest because Emerson rejected miracles in the Bible as evidence for Christianity. I expect that most of us share that point of theology with Emerson. We developed out of those who rejected the Trinity in Europe in the 17th century. When the Bible was printed in the local language, people could read it instead of having to know Latin or Greek. A few realized that there was no mention of the Trinity in the Christian scriptures. They were called anti-Trinitarians as an insult to their beliefs. Michael Servetus was a polymath who was born in Spain shortly after the Muslims and Jews were expelled by the Spanish rulers, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. You might remember them for sponsoring Christopher Columbus and his invasion of North America in 1492. Servetus read the Bible and rejected the Trinity while serving as a physician in France. After being condemned by Catholic authorities in France, he fled to Calvinist Geneva, where he was denounced by John Calvin and burned at the stake for heresy by order of the city's governing council in October of 1553. We count him as one of our martyrs, willing to die for his faith. England in the 17th and 18th century became fertile ground to grow an anti-Trinitarian theology among radical thinkers like John Biddle and Theophilus Lindsey. Biddle was accused of heresy in 1644 and spent many years in jail for writings that refuted the Trinity, using the New Testament as his authority. Lindsey left the Church of England and formed the first Unitarian church in England in 1774 in London. Unitarians believed in a single deity, not three in one, like most Christianity at that time. Now, these early proponents of Unitarianism faced harsh conditions for their faith. They were prohibited from calling their congregations a church. They developed what were called dissenters' chapels throughout the country. Joseph Priestley, who some of you may know, led a dissenters' chapel in Birmingham for several years before a mob burned his church, his house, his library, and laboratory in 1791 because he supported the French Revolution. He left England, came to America, and formed the first Unitarian Church of Philadelphia in 1794. That church is still in operation 228 years later. Finally, I want to tell you about July 15th of 1844, when the English Parliament passed the Dissenters' Chapels Act, which granted Unitarians the right to own and worship in their own chapels, even if they practice a theology different from that of their founders. Congregations that were Dissenters' chapels still exist in England to this day. Now, our Universalist branch comes out of the same Reformation and with people being able to read the Bible in the vernacular. Now, these men and women came to understand that God was love personified. They believed that God would reconcile all of humanity with God, and there was no eternal punishment. So they believed in universal salvation. While not as organized as early Unitarians, Universalists appeared in America before our American Revolution. George de Benneville came to America in 1741, having been influenced by pietists in Europe. He believed that the true message of the Christian gospel was universal salvation. He lived near Reading, Pennsylvania, and was a physician and preacher. He was associated with the German Brethren, also known as Dunkers, who helped spread the Universalist message to Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Now, into this area of New Jersey came a young Universalist preacher from England who had lost his wife and child and been thrown in debtor's prison due to the cost of caring for them. Trying to escape his past, he boarded a ship to the New World. Coming ashore in Barnegat Bay, in the ship, hand in hand, the ship ran aground on a sandbar, and John Murray went ashore and encountered Thomas Potter, a local farmer who held Universalist beliefs from his association with the Dunkers. Potter convinced Murray to preach, and Murray gave the first avowed Universalist sermon on September 30th, 1770. Universalists claimed this as the true beginning of Universalism in America. So fast forward to today. We are the merger of the American Unitarian Association and the Universalist Church of America. Both strands joined together in 1961 because by then they were more similar than different. In 1985, we created the current 7 principles that form the core of our faith. These statements are not a creed, but guideposts for our lives. They are a covenant for our congregation and how we should be with one another. Think of them as kind of an arch that is over our lives that is grounded in the first principle over here and the seventh principle over here. We believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person, not just a select few. We hold respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. Everything is connected. We do not survive without caring for our earth and all that it contains. Now, within this arch, we believe in justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, the right of conscience, and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large, and the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And now there is a proposal of an eighth principle. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote journeying toward spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse and multicultural beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and in our institutions. So congregations around the country are discussing and adopting this new principle as part of our work to heal the original sin of this country. I hope that we will have an opportunity to discuss and possibly adopt this statement as our own at First Unitarian. The three readings that I gave for today point to why we come to church. We come for community, to be supported through life's travails and successes. We come to expand our understanding of what it means to be a human and what purpose we might have. We come to church to find the strength to go that second mile, to offer forgiveness to another, to make amends when we have been in the wrong, to find the good that is there along with the evil, the healing beyond hurt, to rise up again after we have fallen. But we also come to be challenged, to change and grow as human beings. Reverend Carol Sissel reminds us of that work still to be done if we are to reflect our evolving multicultural world. She said, longing for diversity of race, gender, or age is only a beginning. Only a beginning. It calls for caring and creative programming. She goes on to describe our congregations now as primarily white, female, and over 60. She says, if we are to serve into the future, that must change. I believe that we can transform first ourselves and then the world. The hymn we sang earlier, as I said, was written by a Unitarian Universalist to describe what he felt was the essence of his faith. Ours is a simple faith. Life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we till. Make each day what you will. Thankful for dreams fulfilled every day. Life is short and fleeting. And we embrace a hope for a better future for ourselves and those we love. We are grateful for what we have been able to do to make the world more fair. There is no hell to fear, no judgment day drawing near. Trust that inner voice you hear every day. Life's not a goal or race. It's about heart and faith and living a life of grace every day. As Universalists, we create our own hell on earth through bad actions. We believe in faithful living with grace coming into our lives on a daily basis. Trust is an open hand, making an honest stand, rooted here in the land every day, living the mystery, seeking the harmony here between you and me every day. Our faith teaches us to be trusting of each other. Our life is full of the mysteries of creation. Just picture the new views of our universe coming from the Webb telescope, where we can see billions and billions of galaxies that were created billions of years ago. We seek to live in harmony with each other and our world. So if I was asked what our simple faith is, I would say we believe that all are good. We are all connected to each other and the earth. We join together to create the beloved community that supports one another through life's journey. We work for social justice to all who are oppressed, so that all of us may be free to become the best that is within us. We embrace the mystery of our existence and seek to understand more deeply our purpose. How's that for an elevator speech? Amen. Yeah, I think, yeah, okay.
Thank you, Richard. Your words are suspended in our midst. And thank you, Cyril and Catherine. Your melodies will live in our hearts. It took me over 60 years to find First Unitarian Wilmington. And most of that time I did not know I was looking for it. But when I came here, I knew I had found home. For me, a religious home is defined by excellent preaching, good music, community committed to compassion and justice, and the freedom to be embraced amid diverse spiritual quests. And home is a friendly place. All of this I have found at First U, whether we meet virtually or in person. So this is what I am willing to commit to with my presence and energy and financial support. There are 4 ways that we can support First U financially. For those of us here in the sanctuary, you can leave cash or check in the box at the back of the sanctuary before you leave today. You can always mail a check to the church or even drop it off at the office. You can go online to our website to donate, firstuwilm.org. Or you can use the Vanco Mobile Faith Engagement app on your smartphone to make a contribution. And we thank you in advance for your generosity. Please join me now in our dedication of offering. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
Show me the prison. Show me the jail. Show me the prisoner whose life has gone stale. And I'll show you a young one with so many reasons why they're but for fortune may go you or I. You the buildings once so tall, and I'll show you a young one with so many reasons why they're but for fortune. They go you or I, you or I, you or
I also want to thank Fish Castle for being here today to share your music with us, and to have James as the associate for worship today, your first time. He did a good job. Our closing words come from my colleague, Sam Trumbore. Go forth in simplicity. Find and walk the path that leads to compassion and wisdom, that leads to happiness, peace, and ease. Welcome the stranger and open your heart to a world in need of healing. Be courageous before the forces of hate. Hold and embody a vision for the common good that serves the needs of all people.
If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to extinguish the flame while I say these words. The light of faith has come to us from our predecessors to illuminate our journey. This particular light has been shining in our midst for a time. We have received it and extinguish it for now. But we have internalized the light within us, and so we carry it forth in a darkened world. Let your light shine. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, Come and Go With Me to That Land.
Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. 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 Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. Where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. 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 Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. Where I'm bound, there'll be singing in that land. 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 Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. Where I'm